back, I'm back, I'm back. Yes, it's me, Natalie, chatting with Nat with another hat on. You see how that rhymed, hat, Nat? All right, today we have Lisa Jeanette. I like to say Jeanette in French. She's a singer-songwriter. Jellyfish on the Moon is singer-songwriter Lisa Jeanette's second album, which has charted at number 24 on the FAI Folk DJ Chart for March 2021. A Philadelphia native, she earned a Bachelor of Music and Performance from Temple University. Jeanette has been finding her voice and honing her songwriting skills while being mentored by Vance Gilbert and attending Ellis Paul songwriting retreats. Lisa is a multi-instrumentalist and accompanies herself on guitar, piano, and sometimes a harpsicle. Hi, Sanye! I see you, Sanye. Sanye. I like that name. We're going to play some of her songs before she gets in here. Sanye! I like this. I was playing this.
Hey, you.
So wait for Lisa to come in.
Everyone loves you.
Hi, Sanye!
All you lay bare. Shrouded with the stars.
And my cat's gonna knock up Michael.
And want to stay
He wants to knock the things down. Okay, come here.
Want to stay there too.
You're gonna wait to say hi to the people because you cannot. He doesn't want to.
Nothing new.
Huh?
Is that you with your beautiful
They
bride?
don't listen to cats.
Strewn out in pieces for everyone to see.
Waiting for Lisa.
Or secretly spoken, leaving your lips and then entering me, and I am broken too.
Waiting for Lisa.
I am nothing new.
Oh, you know.
There you go, with your try.
Maybe I should sing a song. While we're waiting for Lisa, maybe I should sing a song. Who knows? I don't have my mic in front of me, but I can sing while we wait for Lisa to come on here. Where's my playlist? Where's my playlist? I'll sing a little. I'll sing in French. Just so hard. Je pense m'être perdu sans vouloir voir un autre jour. Tout semblait aller mal. Combien de temps puis-je continuer ainsi? Je lève les yeux vers le ciel en poussant un dernier cri. Et tout à coup tu m'es apparu. Tout devient clair. Tout devient clair. I see Lisa, that's all you get from me today in French. Hold on a second. I'm going to bring her in. Yeehaw. Let's go back to Lisa's music since she's in like Flynn. What was I listening to? You is not here anymore when you go. Oh, here it is. When you go and change your stuff here, let's go back to this.
Hey, you, with all of your familiar, everyone loves you, and all you lay bare. Shrouded with the stars all around you, into your orbit, and want to stay there, and I want to stay there too.
Love this. I love the song, Lisa.
Thank
How
you.
are you?
Oh, great. How are you doing?
I'm alive.
That's a good thing.
I made it through 2020, barely, but I'm here.
Yeah, it was tough year for everybody. Yeesh.
Crazy, crazy.
Yeah.
So how have you been during this whole pandemic?
So it's been a mixed bag for me. It's like I got an album done, which is kind of
Which is
cool.
cool.
And
Which is cool.
we did that we did that safely, and we did it, in the studio with separate rooms and masks and all socially distant. We didn't eat together. I keep saying, like, I'm not sure I would recognize the band, like, if I met them on the street, because I met them in the studio. So if I
That's
met them on
right.
the street, I might pass them by because I only know them with a mask. So it was like that. But the other stuff, like, I have a day job. I work from home already, like before the quarantine. But our work, I'm in training, so all of our work that was in person had to be virtualized. So that was my year, and it was like nuts, and I was pretty burned out from it. And it's just it was, people had it much worse than me. But I also have diabetes, so
Oh,
I didn't leave my house. Like, I haven't, like, I go to the park to walk with and I mask up. But in the beginning, I was going to the grocery store and it would stress me out so much. So then I started just getting groceries ordered, and like,
wow.
it was a stressful time. Really has been.
Yeah, yeah. It's been. I mean, it's just something obviously we didn't expect to happen,
Hmm.
or maybe some people knew and just didn't do anything about it. Don't know. The verdict's out on that one. But we're here and we've had to wear a mask and not touch people, which has been super crazy. And I mean, what's the first thing you're going to do when you're really actually able to go out and see people?
So I get my second shot next Thursday. So you're supposed to wait 2 weeks, but my sister lives like 2 hours away, and she's moving to. I live outside of Philadelphia. She lives in the Poconos. She's moving to Florida, so I want to see her before she leaves. So I'm probably going to take a little bit of a risk, and after the first week, go to see her.
Right.
But that's really my first thing I want to do, is see my family. Like, and my mother's in Florida. She's like 92 years old.
Oh, wow.
Uh, so I haven't seen her since, right, I was down there like in February of 2020. And
Right.
so I haven't seen her since then. So I usually go down at least once a year, if not twice. So, that was also something I miss. What do you
Yeah,
miss?
this
What do you
whole
miss?
yeah. The one thing I've realized is that you definitely need physical touch. Like
Yeah,
hugging is like so important. It's crazy. You don't
yeah,
realize these things until they're gone. And I think that's the way that life is. Once you're without something for the longest time, you just realize, my God, I really needed that in my life. And so I think a lot of people have learned so many lessons during the pandemic. I know I was talking to Ada yesterday, and I was saying how parents that never used to sit at the dinner table with their kids anymore. They had to do it. And I know one guy that said he's cutting back on his work because he realized how much he missed. So obviously there were some horrible things with the pandemic, but there were some really cool things that came out of it because, people realized a lot of things. And you were
yeah.
able to finish your album. That's fantastic. You know?
Yeah, and I used to fill my schedule up with, like, going to see my friends' concerts, and
Right.
like I used to just be every night out going to see concerts and stuff like that, and or just booked up with whatever. And I
Right.
would not. Now I'm very protective of my time. I feel like I don't want to lose that. I want to
Right.
go to the meaningful things, like, go to things that are meaningful to me. And you never know when that's going to happen. Like,
Right.
something meaningful and you don't know. So, but I need to know, like, I never would have gotten my album done if it weren't for the quarantine, because the quarantine slowed me down big time.
Exactly. I was busy. I mean, I work like you. I was teleworking, but I was also working on music and doing a lot of webinars and conferences just on the social media platforms and music production and all that stuff. So I really learned a lot. Where if the pandemic hadn't happened, I would not have been able to have the time to actually watch those conferences or webinars or Zooms or whatever, all the different platforms where you can actually stream and watch everything.
Yeah.
So for that part, I'm grateful. I'm not grateful for the tragedy and all the stuff that goes along with the pandemic. It's just been crazy. Did you live stream at all? Did you perform?
I did, but not a whole lot because I have a lot of friends that make music as their living, and I make a good living outside of music, so I didn't really want to clog up airwaves when my friends were needing that more. And not that I would clog up any airwaves, but I just wanted to be, just watch how much of that I did, because and when I did it, I didn't ask for money, because I don't make my living that way, and I felt like I have to really be respectful of other musicians and what they're trying to do.
That's very thoughtful of you.
Thank you.
Not everybody's like that. I live stream, but it was through B Squared Management, and I didn't ask for money. For me it was just like good practice, because I can't remember anything. I was making up words to my songs. But I had my cheat sheet here. I mean, it really was good practice to be able to remember the songs. And then there's some songs that I know by heart, but I was just like, oh my God, if I don't stop doing these live streams, I mean, I'm going to forget everything, because you basically had brain fog during this entire time. So how would you describe your music?
I like to call it kaleidoscope folk, because
I like that.
It doesn't really fit into any genre, and I've been told that that's a blessing and a curse, because it's hard to market if it's not fitting into a certain genre. So I made up my own genre. And I'll just call it kaleidoscope folk. And to me, it's like, I've heard from actually DJ in Philly, Ian Zolator, that folk, from his definition, folk is anything the folks are listening to. So, and on his show, his show is very eclectic. Like, he plays all kinds of music. But, not everybody feels that way. Like, some people are like, if you didn't write a banjo part, or you don't have a banjo in your studio, you might not make it in folk. But I am going with it, kaleidoscope folk. I'm just trying to forge my own way, and because it's a lot of.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's a lot of different influences. It's a lot of, like, I'm influenced by you. I'm influenced by, I listened to one of your songs today, and, I'm like, I'm influenced by everything. So how can I say, like, the kaleidoscope kind of is like, well, it's whoever is around me. That's what I'm influenced by.
Well, I love the fact that you're unique, and people would be surprised to know that that's what people are actually craving and looking for. They're tired of the same old crap all over again, and over again. So when you come out and you're versatile and you're creating something new, that's where you're getting more attention. It's when you don't see so much, you see the same poo-poo all the time, and people are just like, okay, I'm done with this stuff. Let me find something else. And I think that's why people are afraid to see, a lot of people are just afraid to be their own self in music, I think, because of this mainstream artist thing. Thank you, Sanye. Somebody saying something nice about me.
That's so nice. Talented and a beautiful voice, that's for sure. Yeah, very beautiful.
But yeah, so people are definitely craving something different, and people just don't understand it. A lot of people tend to be focused on the charting, Billboard, whatever. It's nice to chart. It's nice. But what your music can do is that it can go into film, TV, documentary, especially folk. Folk is very good for a lot of that stuff. A lot of that stuff. So you're very lucky, and I was listening to a couple of your songs, and you're obviously very versatile, and you have a beautiful voice, and I think you're going to go far. Thank you. Especially with your songwriting and stuff like that. So then that answered the question. I was going to ask you, how is your music rebellious, unconventional, or unusual?
How is it rebellious? Well, I mean, some of my lyrics are a little, like, I can play. Did you want me to play a song? Because I can.
Yeah.
Because I can play my response to Dolly Parton's Jolene. Do you know that song?
Okay. Yes.
You know it? Yeah, Jolene.
I'd be dead if I didn't know Jolene.
Yeah, so for those who don't know it, that might be tuning in or listening later, it's a song about how, Dolly Parton doesn't want Jolene to take her man.
Right.
So this is my response song. And what happened was I posted a meme of a really cute picture of Dolly Parton that said, feeling cute, think I'll kick Jolene's ass. And then one of my singer-songwriter friends was like, I think you should write the reply to that song. So this is what came out.
Right.
It's me, Jolene, who takes the blame. I hear you yodeling my name every single time you get the chance. You declare that I'm the one who came along and spoiled your fun. You're just using me for your stage dance. Don't blame me. Some say you're the finest they've ever seen. I don't want to compete with you. I don't want your man wants me. That song you sing is such a fraud. You spin your tail like Shahrazad, as if your live or die depends on me. Your imaginings put me to hell. The truth is stranger than the story you tell. Listen up, the truth will set you free. Don't blame me. Some say you're the finest woman they've ever seen. I don't want to compete with you. I don't want your man wants me. Your man is not the one for me. But if he wants another, cut him loose, set him free. I see the sadness in your eyes, yeah. That's a look I recognize. When a situation's finally seen, you think I've done you wrong, I bet we would get along. We have more in common than it seems. Don't blame me. Some say you're the finest woman they've ever seen. I don't want to compete with you. I don't want your man wants me. Your man is not the one for me. But if he wants another, cut him loose, set him free. But don't blame me. I'd say you're the finest woman I've ever seen. I don't want to compete with you. Don't want to compete with you. I don't want your man. I want you. Thank you. Wow, clapping. That's rarely ever heard.
I doubt that. I doubt that seriously. That was excellent. That was
thank
awesome.
you.
Wow. What did you think? I thought it was awesome. I mean, you gotta love your own artistry.
I got this. So I like affirmations, but I've been listening to these affirmations when I'm walking because I have a lot of negative talk in my head. So I listen to these affirmations to make myself feel better. And I realized that my affirmations I've been listening to are very white until I found these hip hop affirmations. Which are hilarious. It's on Spotify. I love it, and it'll say things I listen to it, and I'm just walking through the park and I'm laughing out loud because it'll say things like, it's this guy who says things like, "I love me some me."
I like that.
I just love it. I had no idea there was that whole world out there. I could get affirmations that are like hip hop affirmations.
I didn't know that. Well, you just introduced me to them, so now I'm gonna have
Look
to
it up.
I love me some me. Oh, I'm gonna use that. Because I post inspirational quotes every morning, so I'm gonna have to look for some of those to post. I love me some me. I gotta actually do an MP3 of that. It's just, I love me some me.
There's another one he says. He goes. What? Wait, have you met me?
Yeah, no.
Wait, have you met me? I'm amazing.
I need that one. I need to tell a bunch of people that. Have you met me? Are you really saying what you're saying right now? Hello. If you haven't, I know you met me. No, I like that. No, fantastic. Oh my God. Yeah, no, it's important for people to really love what they put out and love their artistry and love who they are, because what you're putting forth is you. No matter what you're writing about, you're putting your soul out there. And so,
Yeah,
yeah, it's important, don't you think?
I do. And I love the process that happened with this. Like the people I met, the people that are on the album, like Chico Huff on bass, Eric Johnson on the drums, Ross Bell on guitar, Vance Gilbert sings, he's a folk icon, sings on my Mrs. Claus song, which is a climate change song about Mrs. Claus's home melting. And that's really fun. So I got to work with really cool people that I love that. And I love that my first album was very just me in the basement and my husband trying to get something out, but the collaboration in the studio was just magnificent. And it's like, not only that I feel like I'm putting out me, but I'm putting out this artwork that was a collaboration with all these other people, because I didn't come up with that guitar part or that doubling the drums and Don't Blame Me, and like all the things that happened, like they weren't my ideas. So it's like, this was a joint team effort in my opinion.
Exactly. You know, I can I've actually put one of my songs, listen to one of my songs for an hour on repeat. I can do that because it's one of my favorite songs of myself.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
I mean, you can't put something out that you don't love. I just don't understand that concept. And I know that some people that have done that just because, this will chart and this, that, and the other. And I'm just like, well, why'd you put it out? So,
yeah.
Jellyfish on the Moon. How did you come up with that concept for that album and the songs on it?
So my husband is very sciencey, and he watches a lot of science programs. And there's this program called One Strange Rock, which was narrated by Will Smith. And he was watching that one day. It's a really cool show. But this story was in this show. It's a true story. They didn't send them to the moon, but they sent jellyfish to the space station, NASA, and they just to study what would happen if they were born in space. And what they found was that when they brought them back from space, they could no longer tell up from down. They have calcium nitrate crystals in the perimeter of their bell, and we have that in our inner ear. If you ever had vertigo where your crystals were out of place, I've had this.
Yeah, no,
so the same kind of thing. So they couldn't tell up from down, and they were very disoriented. The ones that were born on the space station and brought back were very disoriented by gravity. And I mean, even astronauts get sick when they come back from. So if people start living in outer space, and I mean, I guess it can happen, and it sounds like it might, and you're born in outer space and you try to come back to Earth, that's going to be terrible. Like the feeling of gravity and, yeah. And then I just resonated with it. I just resonated because I thought there's a lot of times I feel lost and feel upside down, and, life just does that to you,
So what is your writing process like? For example, for me, I start out with the chorus first and then work around it. And sometimes I just stare at the chorus thinking, what am I going to write? So how do you do it? So what's your process?
So my process usually starts with an emotion, and the Don't Blame Me Jolene thing was an exception because that was a prompt, and I rarely can write on prompt, but somebody says, write a song about tuna fish. I really can't. But like people do that, like, write a song about, one time it was bagels, write a song about bagels, and it ended up being like an X-rated song because I don't know what to say about that. So usually it's an emotion, and I'm trying to get an emotion out, and it can happen in the car where it starts, or it can happen if I'm sitting at the piano, whatever, but it's just the emotion, and then all of a sudden I have to find a music and a lyric that matches whatever that emotion is, and it helps. It's very cathartic. It gets whatever that emotion is out of my system. And then I coach. I take coaching from Vance Gilbert. He is an amazing songwriting coach. He goes line by line and really dissects your song, and that I've learned so much. That's been about 2-3 years I've been working with him, and he's a great performance coach. He's a great lyric coach. It's just that leveled me up big time.
What do you love about being an artist?
Um, well, I'm not really, so I get along in the real world with a day job,
Right.
but the real me is, I mean, I'm the real me all day. I can't be anything else. It's written all over my face all the time. I can't hide much. But like when I really feel like I'm in the zone is when I'm doing music, and whether it's writing or performing live or getting better on an instrument or I feel like that's where my gift is. So I love being able to express myself in that way because I don't have a lot of creativity leeway in my day job.
No, I hear you. I recently, so my last day, my day job is on May 3rd, and I had to take a step back and say, and I've been at my job for 15 years, and I had to take a step back and say, what makes me happy? And music has been my saving grace, and that's what makes me happy. And I love helping other people. In my job, I was helping other people, but since the pandemic and stuff like that, there's so much stuff that has happened, and I had to just say, it's time for me to do me. Whether I can live with a job or not having a job, Natalie won't. I'm going to do my thing. But it's when you really start to think about your life and how you want to see your life, I realized that I am the key to my own happiness. And so I've just decided to go forth and prosper, so to speak.
So courageous. That's so brave, and commendable. It takes a lot. It takes a lot of courage.
So I'll be on Instagram Live more often.
That's awesome. Things. Congratulations, because I think making that decision and putting it in action is probably the hardest part. I mean, I know it's hard to sustain a living doing what you love sometimes, but I think having the commitment, like I'm done on this day and I'm going to go forward, I think that's a big step and huge. I think that's awesome.
What I love about your music, though, you're very authentic. I'm all into this I've always been into authenticity, but I've been posting a lot about being authentic, being yourself, loving yourself, and I like the fact that your lyrics are very real. They're just
Thank you.
Authentic. And I think that in our music world, a lot of that is missing. Or it's that a lot of the stuff that's being played on radio, it's, it's not that the songs are bad. Their songs are good. But the thing is, it's the same old, same old. And so I love discovering new independent artists, especially female artists, and the men that support them. I like men music too. But, and I've discovered so much, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I got to follow these people, maybe stalk them a little bit, because the music is just phenomenal. I was telling this girl, Ada, last night, I said to her, you're probably better than Taylor Swift, because people have this concept about Taylor Swift. Taylor Swift is great. Don't get me wrong. I mean, she does her own stuff. She does her own, when she goes out on stage, she makes sure everything's right and fits here, and she has a vision. But what people don't realize is that there are people like her, or even better than her, that are out there doing the same thing, and that people should take the time to really get to know about all the independent artists that are out there, because they're missing out on awesome, awesome artists and music. I mean, it's
there's a lot.
It's incredible. So, I thank people like you that are continuing to do music, because we need to. I mean, in a world that's so crazy and so hateful, and our world is hateful, and then there's love, and then there's compassion, and there's hate, and then there's compassion, and there's hate, and stuff like that. I think artists like you and me and other people that I've interviewed, we create some type of balance in the universe.
I agree with that. Absolutely.
With my music, I know that I'm not trying to change people's mind, because I'm not here to tell people what to do, but I want people to sit and think, what would you do if you were in that situation? Mm-hmm. Have you ever put yourself in somebody else's shoes? It's very important. And I think a lot of people don't do that.
Yeah, empathy is a big thing. Like even in the corporate world right now, they talk about empathy. And it's really amazing that some people just don't have it. Like they don't know how to be empathetic. So they don't even know they need it. They don't even know they need to be like that. So they go along their life offending people and, you know, pushing people away, not realizing that, you know, they could be, you know, having more love come back if they had more empathy going out.
Exactly. You're 100% right. What advice would you give to someone trying to break into the music industry? You're like, don't do
That's
it.
a loaded question. Don't do it. No, I'm kidding. No, I when you say breaking in, like I don't think I don't know about breaking in anymore. Like I think for myself, I just want to be heard. Like I didn't want to so much, the charts weren't important to me. It's like all of that with that comes being heard.
Right.
But it's more for me, like I want people to hear my music and resonate with me and say, yeah, I feel that way too. Like, or have them feel better because I expressed an emotion they didn't know they even had. Like, because that's how I write my music. It's this emotion I didn't know I had. And, you know, I'm hoping that other people get that. But, you know, if you're in it to make a lot of money, you better have a lot of money first.
That's right. That's right.
If you're in it because it's all that you know how to do and it's all that your heart wants to do, and I'm partially that way, but I'm partially, you know, ball and chain to a job and a mortgage. But if you're in it for that reason, that's probably a better reason to be in the music business, because it's very difficult, especially now. I mean, even musicians that have worked, you know, for decades building their audience and their, you know, portfolio or whatever, their catalog, I mean, you know, even they are struggling because, you know, there's Napster and then, you know, Spotify and, you know, all the things that rip off musicians. And, you know, it's hard to be a musician. It's hard to be a seasoned, decades-long musician, let alone a new musician. So you better love it.
Damn it, you better love it. No, I agree with you 100%. Now, what advice would you give your younger self?
So I actually have a song about that on my first album called Pearl. And the whole song is about, because I didn't, there was a eighth grade classroom election. And it was our first time we ever did something like that. We had and I was up for, I was one of the candidates. Candidates. And I didn't vote for myself. And I'm like, who does that? Who doesn't vote for themselves? Like, I voted for other people. Wow. Like, that's just a great, so my advice is to always vote for yourself, to always believe in yourself and, you know, expect good things to happen. And because I think I didn't expect good things to happen. So I made it so it wouldn't, rather than expecting things to happen and voting for yourself and being confident in your own ability.
I love that. And what's a quote you live by?
So I heard you ask Anna like yesterday, so I was like, I have mine ready. So so my favorite quote is Eleanor Roosevelt. It's attributed to Eleanor Roosevelt, and it's been said a couple different ways, but it's do something every day that scares you. I love that quote.
I love it. I love
do
it.
something every day that scares you.
You definitely.
I try to do it.
Yeah.
This is my thing today. Right here.
Yeah, no, I love that, because I think sometimes fear is like the worst possible thing that a person can have, because it stops you from doing so many things. And so you just have to push through. You just got to do it. You know, life is short. Life was short before the pandemic. It's become extremely shorter after the pandemic. And so I tell people, if there's something you love and there's something that you want to do it. Don't let anything stop you. Because my God, this world needs you. If you see somebody else doing it, that means that somebody else should be doing it as well. You know, I agree. I agree. Oh, I love that quote. Yes. No. Definitely.
And time, like, you know, time is a commodity. It's, you know, something that you can make more money. You can't make more time. Yes, so every time I have a concert where people show up, I'm always like, thank you for bringing your time here, because you could do a million other things, you know, like you could go out to dinner or whatever, but you're at my concert. And,
Right.
you know, to me, I'm always grateful for the people that show up on Instagram Live and for anything like that. It's always a treat, like no matter how large or small the audience is.
No, I agree with you. Because when I've done the live stream, sometimes live stream I have people there. Sometimes I'm singing to myself, and that's
And
okay. Because
that's okay.
I love me, damn it. I love
I
me.
love
I
me some
love
me.
me some me. I love me some me, and I love gonna sing to myself all day long. And, you know, and if people stop by and if they say hi and they listen, that's great.
That's good too. Yeah.
But
That's how we were first in Catico. We're the same.
yes, yes, amen to that. Well, Lisa, thank you so much for being on Chatting with Nat on Instagram Live. I believe we will be chatting on Blog Talk Radio more about your album, more about you. Yeah, you won't be prepared for that. You know, I ask people for questions, and half the time I don't ask them because I want, you know, because I'll ask like one or two, but I like authenticity. I like, you know, I want to be like, we're two girlfriends sitting on a couch, we're having a conversation. You could cough, sneeze, whatever. The room could creak. I don't care. I like that stuff. I'm trying to get back to the realness of life, you know.
Yes. I like that too.
You know, I hate things that are so organized. I can be organized in certain things, but I like the craziness of life.
I'm with you,
it makes me feel alive. Alive, people.
I know spontaneity. Yeah, it's all good.
It's all good. So thank you so much for being on Chatting with Nat. I hope you have a great weekend. Let's see.
Thank you so much. This was so fun. Thanks.
I'm going to play. Well, this is Top of the Ferris Wheel.
I ran as fast as I could down to the storefront corner, peeking over the ropes, hoping to see the promise of the Ferris wheel, part of the sphere, winking back at me from the sky. I could see colors with lights on the globe. Oh, how they twinkle at night. It's time for the carnival. Can I go?
Beautiful.
On a merry-go-round. Let's climb to the top of the Ferris wheel. I can see everything better from there.
Stunning.
Didn't have much to hope for. Never dreamed of dying.
All right, Lisa, thank you so much. Until next time. Thank you.
Thank you. This was fun. Take care.
I was drunk with desire. I wanted to be good at something, good to someone, prove them all to be liars.
I don't know what that fucking email is.